Right, back again after another flat battery. Okay, so to recap, I covered the magazine in Tamina Putty about 10-12 days ago, just before we started doing things around the property. So that's had plenty of time to cure, because I wanted it to be cured and dried and gone hard, because on a couple of occasions I've used Tamina Putty on, you know, styrene model kits, and I might have used too much, or it might have been the quality of the styrene. It tended to make the plastic soft, and so I didn't just chuck this on straight away. I did do a test first, but I wanted this to be really hard and cured before I started sanding it. So I'm going to do that in a minute, but let me just explain to you what I did. This is the old bolt that snapped when I was installing it, and what I've done, I put putty on both sides, then I put a bit of tape across there, and then sprayed it with this automotive putty. Now this side I've sanded, and both sides of that sound pretty quiet when you drag a knife across. It's not catching any of the layers. On this side, so while the putty or the paint seems important, I think the sanding is the most important, unfortunately, because you know how much I hate sanding. So anyway, I've got 800, 1200 bits and pieces of everything. Also bought a couple of sanding blocks. It doesn't actually tell you what level they are, but they've seemed pretty coarse. This one's a nice one. This is a 1200. So I'm going to start out with these and go nuts sanding. Got everything, got my coffee, and I've got a container of water around here somewhere I use for the wet and dry. So I'm going to get on with that, and I won't bore you with the incomprehensible details of how dull sanding this is, and I'll get back to you in a sec. Well, it'll be a sec for you, it'll be hours for me. So that took, I don't think it really matters. I did put my timer on, just curiosity. Yeah, that took about 45 minutes just to sand a lot of that away. I had some steps here because I actually made a huge mistake when I printed this. I printed it on sort of a slight angle like that on the board because I wanted to print this as integral. So this is actually, this part is 100% about to there to make it a really strong base. But that gave rise to these steps in it, and these steps, and these steps. So I've put some putty in those ones. I'm just going to put some putty in these ones a bit more. Just rub it down on the surface so when it when I sand it, it just helps to take out those steps and hide it a bit more. Not too bad. It went quicker than I expected. My coffee's almost cold, but that's fine. Now at this stage, a couple of things that have been holding me up, not greatly, just the telescope. I had a U-Butte idea for putting this telescope in, which was a huge superconducting magnet. Well, one of those pneumonium or whatever they really call them. Yeah, if I can find one online, I can glue it in there and have a recess in there for another one. It'll clunk. Should work. It'll work a lot better than that did. Because really there's not enough plastic there to put a screw through, unfortunately. The bottom of the scope needs a lot of work too. Okay, and this is ready to go. This just needs a good sand and clean up. There's a few little touches on it, but that's all right. So what I'm actually focusing on now is the accessory parts, which there's not much of, but I've got my little round counter which I'm working on, so that has to go there like that. Now, having tried to fix this on several times, sorry, that goes on that end, there seems to be just a size fit issue. That slot is not big enough to go over the two pieces of plastic there. And, oh, there it goes, it works now. Well, go figure, so that's good. So, basically, it's just a matter of attaching all the little bits and pieces. I'm not sure whether to attach them before or after paint. Probably before, because it'll make them paint easier, of course. Just a little bit more filling to do on a few things, and the Righto guys, I'm filming this section again because the one I filmed the other day was completely out of shot. So, what I was talking about was, okay, we've got the little round counter which fits on there like that. From there, we've got a cable that comes up over here, goes along here, down here, I believe under here, to this point here. Now what I'm going to use is, I've seen this stuff, it's like a hollow rubber tube, and it's got an ocky strap or something slightly stretchy through the centre of it, and a plastic snap clip on either end, used for tying up bundles or something. I got no idea what, and I can't even remember where I've seen it, so finding one's going to be funny, but I know they exist. So I'll use that, and there's several different drawings which I'll show you about the top of here. There seems to be a clamp on this side and a clamp on the top. This hose sort of is very springy, so it bows, so the clamp there, then yeah, there seems to be two clamps because this hose is very springy. It comes up here, it's held down by one that's bolted on the back here, then this one at the side changes its direction, turns it 90 degrees to go along here, and then down here somewhere. So I've got, so that's that part's pretty much ready to go paint. I've been doing some work on this metal clamp thing. It's not exactly the same as I've seen, but I didn't have a completely flat bit of metal. This is from an old joist hanger. So once I've got that clamp in there and I know what's happening with this hose and what diameter it is, I can then bend this, and once I've rolled that over and bent and made the curved surface that the pipe go through, I can then judge where to trim and cut this and mount that. So it sort of stays at that until I'm ready to go. So once I've got that on, I've got these little levers of something, whatever they're for, I don't know, maybe disassembling. So there's two of those, one each side, and the butt plate, which just on the butt there's a tiny little recess and there's a tiny little pin there, so it goes like that, glue on. I'm thinking of leaving that on, painting it separately, because this will probably be the plastic body colour, whatever that's going to be, and this will be metallic and worn. So that's how that will work. One thing I noticed while putting this movie together, I was talking about putting a superconducting magnet, cutting a hole in there, putting a magnet there, superconducting, neodymium, whatever you call them, and another one in there, snap. It didn't work too well at the muzzle, and I've noticed that once this is out, I can actually get a screwdriver straight up through there. So it might be just a simple case of putting a screw straight through from the bottom there. There's room, there's a curve that I've made for clearance for the bolt, and you know, a little bit of recessing, should be fine, and the screw will be perfect. Got a single screw up through there, got a little bit of movement at the front here, but what I'm going to do is when I put it together and put the screw in, I'm going to glue it at the front. The screw is for the physical bond, the glue is just to get it aligned. The cocking handle still works, clearance, lovely. So, off we go to the next thing, which is to putty the bottom of the scope, which means I've got to pull all this apart again. Got a lot of work to do there, because this is printed flat. I don't like to print long, thin things upright, because they have a tendency to snap. Right, got it done. Oh, you're kidding me! Oh,